Hello, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Chevron Locked, a Stargate-based podcast, episode 24. Kevin, did you notice I made it through that intro?
I did. You actually made it through the intro. I wouldn't say you made it well, but you made it through the intro.
Okay. Well, in fairness, I'm a little doped up right now on a hybrid mixture of Dayquil, NyQuil combination, you know? But I stuck the landing. I felt like it may not have been a 10, but I stuck the landing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're still upright.
Yeah. I'm always upright, son. Episode 24. Tonight, we are looking at, Kevin, we just talked about this, and I just turned the page.
Divide and Conquer. Window of Opportunity and Watergate.
You're damn right. Season 4, episodes 5, 6, and 7, or 71, 72, and 73 in the complete collection. What do we got? A couple Martin Woods and Peter DeLuise episodes?
I believe so. I haven't double-checked it. I rely on you for that. That might be dumb on my part.
No. I rely on the internet for that, so don't worry. Looks like Peter DeLuise did Window of Opportunity, which kind of makes sense because it was a little bit more of your lighthearted stuff, and I think he does really good at those episodes.
Yeah, he does. He's a big child.
Yeah, no. And then Martin Wood did Divide and Conquer in Watergate, so... What's been going on, Mr. Kevin? How's the other podcast going?
Going real well. You know, we been trying to do a bunch of different things with it, you know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We actually had an incident the other day on Instagram where Tim posted a Harry Potter meme picture, and for some reason it hit 4,100 people, where our previous, it was 10 times our previous high. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I can't explain it. It definitely wasn't anything we did. I'm pretty sure someone paid some Chinese click farm for likes, and we got the brunt of it because of a typo or something. But it was kind of funny to have just literally thousands of notifications over my phone.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome, though, man.
Yeah, it was kind of neat.
Yeah, especially for Harry Potter.
Yeah, but whatever happened, it did increase our reach, so yay.
Well, good for you guys, man.
And we get,
good for you guys.
We get shirts, and we get Patreon with special bonuses for anybody that pledges any money, and trying to keep active.
I contemplated pledging on the Patreon account, right? Because I did look into yours, and I saw that there was a chance for a riff track of Hook.
Just need 3 more people.
All right. You may get one tonight then.
Nice. Yes. Tim is going to be so excited. He loves that movie, and I think it's just adequate, but we will definitely tear it apart.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, dude. Such a classic. I know we battled about it before, but oh well.
Yeah.
So there was something else I was going to mention, and it's long gone, but that's okay. Tonight, like we said, Divide and Conquer, Windows of Opportunity, and Watergate. 3 really good episodes, I thought, without getting too specific right now. I actually really liked all of them, man.
This is why I was looking forward to this week. I think all 3 of these episodes were fucking phenomenal episodes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And, we got 2 sad episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd agree with that, definitely.
But yeah, good stuff. So why don't we just head right into Divide and Conquer and see what we think?
Sure. So Divide and Conquer is the one where the team is negotiating a peace treaty with the Tok'ra, and then all of a sudden someone just decides to shoot them because no one was looking at him, and he decided it was his time to strike. And so they come back to Earth and find out about Zaytarks, which have been reprogrammed by Goa'uld to be assassins. And no one is a Zaytark, but everyone thinks it's Sam and Jack, but they were just, jonesing for each other in that office romance, will they, won't they, Jack and Diane bullshit. And then, surprise, it's Martouf, and now he's dead.
Yeah. So you kind of hit on one of the only, I couldn't get that fucking sentence out. One of the bad things I had to say about this episode was the whole, and it's something we've repeated in the past, the will they, won't they scenario gets brought up. Now, at least I felt like it was used a little bit better this time around.
Instead of a background.
Correct. Yeah. So I thought it worked a little bit better, but I'm still tired of it. Like, I really am at this point. That opening scene, by the way, when he blows himself up, right? And everybody takes cover. Like, I know this was a TV show, okay? But really, you're going to tell me that there was no body parts that went flying? It was just rubble?
Well, not only that, but it took him like 20 minutes to turn that thing on himself. And he's like fighting with himself. And no one was like, oh no, there's something obviously wrong with this guy. We'd better stop him.
Yeah. And this is pre-TSA, people, because there was no pat down done. There was no checking of anybody. But in all fairness, you would think, well, I don't know. As a viewer, I'm like, well, we've never seen that guy before. Yeah. You know? So you would think that, that with somebody new coming in, as far as we know, he's new to the Tok'ra, that there would be at least some security measures done there. You know? Because we saw this. Go ahead.
No, my first note is, oh no, the only Tok'ra to live are the ones we already knew the names of. And that's pretty much what this show does, and I get that. But you're right. This guy, the guy that did the shooting, was also new. So everyone that was new is now dead. Is completely gone. You know? And did you feel like, okay, 2 times during these episodes, I had a kind of Star Trek references written down. And the first, and we're going to kind of jump around on this episode if that's okay with you, Kevin. It's fine with me.
Okay. The first one was, a reference to Star Trek Enterprise, where they killed off the chief engineer at the end of the run, you know?
Yeah.
And it was handled very hastily, and there was a lot of backlash on that, because all of a sudden he was alive, and then the next scene he's just dead. And I kind of got that from this episode as well. That I'm like, I'm okay with you killing off, like, your sub main characters, like, to move along the forward or to move along the narrative. But it was just done so almost off cuff, I think. Like, how they handled that.
Yeah, I mean, we never had any sense that he was in a position where he could have been brainwashed. You know,
until, go ahead.
Like, we never had a report of him being missing or him being delayed or anything suspicious. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If this is what you are doing, even if you know you have never been through this, the first thing you do is you have someone do the Voight Kampff test from Blade Runner on you first. And then you do it on your assistant, and then you and your assistant do it on everyone else.
Yes. I completely agree with you there. That was my only thing. It was just right at the, I mean, literally, you're talking the last, 6 minutes of that episode.
Yeah.
All of a sudden she was like, well, we haven't checked Martouf yet. You know, and then he's already made the transformation over to fucking assassin. He's already got the fucking finger of death on, and, you know, it's over. Like, it just seemed, I like that character. I really, really like that character. I liked all of his interactions with Carter. And again, I'm okay with him being dead. It just seemed like it was rushed. Like, it just seemed like it was booked in on that episode. Cause the rest of that episode I thought was really, really good, man. Like, it just, lots of great dialogue, lots of great little moments. But that one just seemed a little rushed.
Yeah, it was a good exploration of, like, this new technology that they've introduced. And I didn't feel like that was awkward because it worked. It told the story. And it was a sort of a sneaky clip show where suddenly we're revisiting things that haven't happened and have happened and haven't happened. It was bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah.
And we had so many people that were this thing that it just, I don't know that I buy it. There were so many SG members that were the Za'tarks, and then you have everybody think Sam and Jack are, and then it turns out to be Martouf. So that's like 7 people for something we've never heard of before.
Never at all. And it just, are we under the assumption that they checked the entire SGC, like all fucking, how many SG teams are there? 15, 17?
At this point, I'm not sure. At least 10. So 40 people plus support staff plus, so at least 3 times the support, 2 or 3 times the support staff. So we're talking 120 plus people.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, all we saw was that, the first girl, whatever her name was, Susan.
Aster.
Oh, Aster. Yeah.
Sorry.
I go with Susan every time.
I know.
One, Aster went fucking ham. Like, they never explained, like, Aster ripped off those fucking leather straps. And I'm like, so did she get super strength during that little fucking procedure as well?
Well, what it
Because
does,
she was
that
whooping ass.
the little brainwashing thing, it makes you think that you have dropped a pint of Ben and Jerry's under a car. And so she was, in her mind, she was just lifting that car up to get the Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, not like a child or anything.
No.
No,
Please.
No, you just call for help on that. But Ben and
Yeah.
Jerry's, dude, I'm in.
I wouldn't know anything about that. No kids here, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if my dog got trapped under a car, but who knows? But you did bring up another point. Oh, did we ever figure out, did they have a name for that little finger device, by the way? Or what civilization that, like, was that a Tok'ra weapon? Do we know that?
I think that was a Tok'ra weapon because it was the Goa'uld that brainwashed the guy that shot them up. So I think it was a Goa'uld weapon.
Okay. I mean, it was never explained, so that
no,
was
it wasn't, and it was consistent. It wasn't like he found something or, Martouf found something that the Tok'ra had and the other guy had a gun, which would have made more sense. It's that they had that weird finger weapon that anyone could have patted them down for.
Yes, correct, Amando. And the fact that if it wasn't Tok'ra, and I agree with you that it had to have been Goa'uld, but if it wasn't Tok'ra and it wasn't Earth-based, then a pat down would have picked that up pretty fucking quick. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
even if you're brainwashed, like because you got to figure they got that weapon well before the contact moment that they talked about. Like, at any point do you say, what the fuck is this?
I guess. I mean, I think they're just brainwashed into it. I think that's, I get that. They're trained. Have you ever been hypnotized? Have you ever been to a hypnotist?
No.
I don't know how much of it I believe, but a couple people I know, they had one at a work event last year, and they were like, "Oh my God, I was totally hypnotized, and I was clucking like a chicken, man." I guess. I mean, maybe they were just hypnotized to believe it was a coin they were fiddling with,
It's possible. It is. I don't know. It was just something I thought about, because it was a really cool piece of weapon. Like, it really was, and I would like to see more of that weapon.
Yeah.
It seemed powerful as fuck.
I mean, we have one now. Let's disassemble it, make something out of it.
We have two.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
Well,
no, we have one. That's right. First one went bye-bye.
Right. There was plenty of time, too. We talked a little bit about the first guy. There's plenty of time to restrain Aster, too.
Yes.
Don't hide behind the door. She's aiming the gun at herself. Go in there. Grab the gun. Put your hand in between the trigger guard and the trigger so you can lose a finger, but she's not going to shoot herself.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The Tok'ra don't use sarcophaguses, do they?
No, they don't
That's
believe
right.
in it because it turns you loopy.
It turns you, yeah. Yeah, we saw the whole Daniel thing. When the fuck's Daniel going to die again, man?
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, the other thing, not the last
Yeah.
thing, but the
No,
other
talk
thing
to
I
me.
have, why wouldn't you start with SG-1? I mean, you know what? We're talking about someone who didn't start with her assistant, so I get it, but you're working with SG-1. They're the main people you have. Don't save them as the last SG group to test if they're working against you or not. They have the most clout. They have the most opportunity. If someone's going to be brainwashed and really like fuck you up, it's going to be them.
I had that written down too, because and you're right. Like, as far as we know, right? SG-1 is that's your main group. So anytime a new planet is discovered, anytime you gotta go deal with Goa'uld, stealth missions, shit like that, that's always SG-1, Like, why wouldn't you just start with that? Like, that's where I would assume you would want to start. Are we out of line there?
No,
Okay.
I mean, really, this is just, it's good TV, and that's why.
It is. Yeah.
And I do get that. I'm nitpicking it because I love the show, not because I hate the show and want something else from it.
No, absolutely. Well, and we've talked about it. Like, the first couple times I watched this series, I watched it just as a pure fan, like something that I would just lay around and watch like 5-6 episodes at a time. And now I go through it with a little bit more of a detailed eye, looking for stuff to talk about and stuff like that. And, I can nitpick stuff like that all day long with them.
I do think it's a little odd that like they're testing Jack and Sam and they're both like, what's going on? Why are you reacting like this? And the camera pans to Janet and there's a huge monitor facing the camera with the results right on it. So it's like, you're not surprised. It thinks you're lying.
Well, and then right before that, when they were testing, Susan, sorry, she's Susan. When they were testing Susan, they were explaining it in that control room, and Daniel's like, oh, look. And they all look down like Daniel knows what all those fucking, you know, what that glowing orb means, you know? Like, I was like, you don't fucking know what the fuck you're looking at, Daniel.
You
Shut
dick.
up. You fucking dipshit. God bless you. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for that episode, to be honest with you, unless you had some more stuff.
I had that I was really hoping that Martouf's laser blast at the end would shave that fucking caterpillar off Teal'c's chin.
Oh, yes. Oh, you know what? While we were speaking of that, let me just, cause it's something me and you talked about. Yes. It was something we wanted to, Mike hit us up on Libsyn about that, and he said that the soul patch is basically explained in the short story Timekeepers on Slippin' by Keith DeCandio, part of the Far Horizons anthology.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's nothing I've ever heard of, and it's something I want to check out.
So the Far Horizons anthology is available as an ebook on Amazon for $4.99. It's actually a pretty damn good story. I read only that one and one other, but I read that in preparation for this episode because of Mike. So thanks, Mike. But yeah, in that story, it's basically what happens in between season 3 and season 4 when they gated out of Thor's ship and before they gated home.
Oh, okay.
And they arrive on a planet where the Stargate is in a different time bubble than the rest of the planet. And Teal'c accidentally falls out of that little bubble, and then Sam falls after, or walks after him. And so Sam and Teal'c are trapped on the other side of this thing and can't get back to Jack and Thor unconscious. And the difference in time is causing severe earthquakes on this planet, and there's this huge machine that's keeping that from happening. And the police of this world wear that little chin caterpillar thing and dye it blonde. And so Teal'c starts wearing that because he gets a job as a peacekeeper there and helps them and tries to keep the peace while they're there. And Sam starts working on making the machine more efficient and trying to help them sort of overcome this thing while at the same time trying to figure out how to get back through the bubble so they can dial out. So it's kind of a neat story.
So very much like, so there, does it say how long they're stuck in there then?
They are in there from their perspective. From their perspective, it's a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe a little bit more. But from Jack's perspective, it's days or so.
Yeah. Very interesting concept, though. Like,
yeah,
I give people credit for being able to like creatively fill space. You know?
Yeah, and it's a great like retcon of why Teal'c has that peach fuzz and Sam's hair was noticeably longer, because not enough time had passed that would happen in their world, but in our world it had been months between filming.
Yeah. Huh. Good on them, man. Somebody should pick that up for a separate story. If they ever reboot Stargate, I strongly suggest that being taken a look at. Yeah, I would watch something like that, you know?
Kind of neat. The only other notes I had for this was that Jack was not a Za'tarc, just an asshole. And
yes,
he's a little standoffish at the end, and I don't blame him because he admits his feelings to Sam, and the first thing she does is shoot her ex-boyfriend. So I get the feeling she's a little clingy.
But that was after she watched Jack shoot her ex-boyfriend in the leg. You know what I'm saying, too? You know?
But that was her moment where she was like, he's as committed to this as I am, and then she outright murdered him.
Yeah. God bless him. That is so good. God, what a great episode. I mean, honestly, I thoroughly did love it, so. All right. What are we looking at? Window of opportunity, sir?
Yes, window of opportunity.
Yeah.
So that was the one where the gang shows up on a planet that has a giant Rubik's Cube sitting in the middle of a desert, and some dude is playing with it, and Daniel tries to interfere, and Jack and Teal'c get shot into some weird time loop, and they keep waking up on the same day, Groundhog Day-like. And they've got to figure a way out because that dude's trying to fuck shit up, and it's really hilarious. Like, this was a great comedy episode.
It was a fantastic comedy episode. Like, along with being a good sci-fi episode. You know?
Yeah, very much so. You know, it had great visuals. It was really self-contained, but it worked itself out really well. And I was just like, the only complaint I have, and I have this whenever something like this comes up in a show or a movie, when you're going through a time loop like this, you fucking know it. Like, you don't wake up and go, huh, I thought I just lived this day, but I guess I didn't. If you wake up and you have that feeling, it's a dream and it goes away in like 6 minutes. But if you're walking through the rest of the day going, all right, now so-and-so's going to walk through that door, and then they do. You don't sit there going, that's weird. You sit there going, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. No, I agree. So the first time that they warp back, Jack has that perfect look on his face when Daniel asks him what his opinion was. And there is that, it's that like 15 seconds, that is all it should have taken. You know, for him to be like, oh, okay, no, something is really wrong. It shouldn't have been like the 6th, 7th, 8th jump.
Right.
So.
I mean, even if it was just that, like, you get to the briefing room and they're like, all right, we're going to this place. And Jack's like, oh, okay, something fucked up has happened because I've already done that.
It is a bit of a trope there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But getting past that, looking past that, what I want to know is why it took them, especially because of Jack. Like, if it was Teal'c, I can understand. But we don't know. Well, at the end of the episode, Carter says that the Tok'ra have been trying for like 3 months, right? But we don't know how long prior to that. So halfway through all their jumps is when Daniel makes the reference to, well, you know, this is your guys' opportunity to do anything you want, you know? And then all of a sudden they both kind of like light up and they're like, holy shit, we could do whatever we wanted. And I felt like with Jack, that would have happened on like the 3rd jump.
Exactly. Like,
you know?
we saw in Groundhog Day, it didn't take him this long to figure it out, and he wasn't quite as bright. You know, but I don't know. You're right. I would fuck around too. There's nothing that tells them that they need to do anything else. There's nothing that tells them that they can affect this in any way, shape, or form. So why wouldn't you try to fuck around? Why would you keep doing what they were doing up to that point? I don't know. I got nothing.
And do they, every time they jump, do they wake up feeling refreshed like they just slept?
I think they feel the way that they felt at that moment.
At that exact moment?
Yeah. I mean, Jack feels as awake as he was at breakfast, and Teal'c feels as awake as he was 1/2 second before being smashed in the face by a door.
Oh, yeah. Teal'c got it so bad on that episode, dude. That was so funny. That was actually very, very funny to me.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the episode. The other favorite part I have is that it was more likely that there's a time loop than that Jack read the report.
Yeah. Pardon me. The other thing is when Carter and Hammond are walking down the hall, Carter says, have you ever heard Jack talk like that before? And Hammond's like, well, no. And she goes, and he used most of those words almost perfectly, you know? Like, it was just one of those things where he would have just stumbled those words out, but just the fact that he actually put them together correctly, you know?
Yeah.
There was a lot of great little side jokes in here.
Exactly.
And you had the whole in the middle of my backswing, which is just, you know, one of my favorite moments starting history.
I saw something on Reddit the other day that was improvised, or that was just because they needed, not necessarily improvised, but that was added in as padding because they needed the episode to be just a little bit longer.
Oh, genius.
And so they went and shot that scene because they needed to fill that time. You're right. It was comedy gold, right?
It was. This is the other episode that I kind of had a bit of a Star Trek referencing with. And it felt a little bit like a mixture of Groundhog Day and Star Trek Generations.
Okay.
Where I'm sure you've seen Generations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It just kind of felt like different techniques, but all to the same end, you know? Like, just basically you have your grieving person that wants to get back to their loved ones, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like this handled it better in terms of, without the budget, telling that story better than what Generations did. Now, granted, I haven't seen Generations in years, but it definitely felt like, you know, I don't want to say that there was, you know, some that they took some inspiration from that movie, but it definitely felt that way.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I mean, that might be something that, it's tropes though. It's what happens in a movie to motivate people.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's a trope. Yeah, no. I mean, you could tell this was a DeLuise episode because he put himself in it. He was one of the...
Where was he?
He was one of the times that Daniel got knocked down when he was trying to talk to Jack in the hallway.
Yeah.
It was Siler and Peter DeLuise that helped him up.
Man, I was so looking for him in this episode because I knew he would be in it and I couldn't fucking find it.
Glad I found it.
Good shit, man. Yeah, I was trying so hard to fucking find that. I really was.
Oh, and it was such a missed opportunity. They never used the line, "keep me in the loop," which I think would have been fantastic.
Yeah. No, that really would have been. The one thing I didn't understand, and maybe you can help me here. So they go back to the planet for the third and final time, right? And the dude's got the force field up.
Sure.
And he's like, yeah, they're like, lower the force field. He's like, I can't. I know you guys are here to shut down the machine. How? How do you know that they came to shut that machine down right then and there? Like, they just deciphered everything,
Shit, you're right.
Like,
to him. Oh, no. You know why? Because he's smart enough to know that if they didn't figure out what was going on, they would have been back. And up to that point, they weren't, because he had been on that planet for months. We're trying to decipher this thing, reliving that day over and over. And the next time he went through it, they did not show up again at their agreed upon time, because he knew they were coming the first time.
Yes.
And so they should have shown up day 2, and they didn't. And so he knew something was different, and the only reason something could be different was that they knew what was going on. So I buy that. Boom.
Okay. All right.
Explained.
No, you're good, dude. It was just the way he said it. I'm like, wait, do you have a radio comm with these guys? Like, it's just the way that he said it and so quickly that he said it. I was like, how can you possibly know that that's why they're here? That they've come to shut this down and whatnot. But, that was my only real gripe because apparently you're smarter than me.
No, I can explain away that one, but I can't explain away everything. Like, for example, Jack wants to get back to the planet, and he can't convince Hammond and the team and Teal'c and all of them to go back to the planet. Actually, Teal'c, I think, was on board.
Yeah.
But he can't convince them that they need to go back.
Correct.
Well, this seems like a very easy fucking thing to solve. When you wake up tomorrow, just don't tell them you're in a time loop. Boom.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Go through the briefing. Get your gear together, be a number 1 top performance Jack, and when you walk through, be like, follow my lead and just start shooting.
Yeah. Okay, so you kind of fed me through a loop there. But yes, I would have, because my question to you would have been, but you just answered it. How would you have solved that? How would you have convinced these people? Because you got to figure they wasted pretty much every day for months at a time trying to convince these people. To my end, I would have just simply said on one of those jumps, I've been like, look, tell me something right now. Like, tell me something, or what did you have for dinner last night? And then like, give me information so that the next time we do this, I'm going to shoot off all this information. We're going to cut out half the fucking middle time. And, poor Frasier had to fucking, inspect them every fucking time. But yeah, your idea was way better. Like, yeah.
Yeah, all you have to do is keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, and just go through.
Your idea, have you ever seen the movie Edge of Tomorrow?
I have, but I think I saw it in the theater, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was a similar thing. He figured out something that only, like, she gave him a passphrase, and so when he went back in time, he was like, "Purple Monkey Dishwasher," and she knew that was, that was something only she knew, and so it worked. I mean, it's not a terrible idea, but in this case, the opposite is true. You just have to keep your mouth shut and you'll get what you want. But they spent their time reading Latin for Novices by Joseph Malozzi, PhD. He's one of the producers of the show. And Jack
awesome.
makes a comment, and he's like, how many archaeologists carry weapons when they show up at the end, and the guy is at the podium, the giant Rubik's Cube, and he pulls a weapon. And it's like, whoa, hold on. So we've established this episode you've never seen Groundhog Day. Are you also telling me you've never seen Indiana Jones?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jack made reference to Groundhog Day in this episode.
That's right. No, I have that in my notes. So if he's seen it, then why didn't he think to fuck around earlier?
Exactly. There is your fucking conundrum, if you will. Yeah, no, he calls it out. He says something about something Groundhog Day, like turning this into a big Groundhog Day event, you know?
Yeah, no. You know what? He watched it during one of the loops.
Oh, how fucking...
Boom.
Dude, fourth wall breaking right there.
Boom, there you go.
You watching
he
a Groundhog
know.
Day while you're looping?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is definitely the type of thing he would find hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is canon. That is what happened. Boom, cut, print, we're done.
I want to know what Tilk did with all of his time. Because Jack takes up pottery, you know? He quits and makes out with Carter. He plays a little golf, although Tilk is with him on that one. All we saw Tilk do was just smash that dude in the mouth with that fucking door.
He learned how to juggle. I was there. I taught him.
Oh, shit. That's right. Oh, my God. Yeah, I did. I cracked a smile when that scene came up, by the way.
So for everybody listening at home, I'm working on some other projects for my other podcast and for YouTube and all that. And so I set up a green screen at my house. And a green screen, I set up a piece of fabric and took literally 15 minutes and shot a video of myself juggling and inserted myself into that scene in this episode just so that I could see how easy it was. And it was so easy. It was awesome.
I'm going to totally put that. I was actually going to put that on Twitter. So I will do that tonight. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. Well played.
Share it on the subreddit.
I will. God, that was so funny. Cause I didn't know when you sent me that, I didn't know that was from this episode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That was all the notes I had for Windows of Opportunity.
The only other thing I had, and we kind of touched on this at the beginning of this episode, was the Tok'ra, they've been trying for 3 months, but who knows how long it's been since then. Fucking ask them when the summit that you shot Martouf at was. Hey, guys, how long's Martouf been dead?
Yeah.
68 days. Great, it's been 68 days.
Yeah. That would have given you more of a precise count.
It's not like we don't have a common frame of reference.
That's true. Whatever happened to that body? What was their burial styles?
Martouf's body?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. We'll answer some of that later.
Oh, shit. I actually didn't know that. That's awesome. Oh, don't make me laugh right now, son. Whew. Fighting this thing bad. I feel like Rocky and Apollo Creed's happening right now inside of me.
Ugh.
Yeah. And Rocky's losing right now. I know he's going to come back and win, but right now Rocky's losing. Does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, Rocky 2, not Rocky 1. Sorry. Spoiler alert, by the way, guys. Sorry if you've never seen the first two Rockies. Yeah, but just a fantastic fucking episode, man. Peter DeLuise, just an amazing director. The comedy in this one was fantastic. The visual effects, that's something we didn't talk about. That was actually done very, very well, I thought. Like when it had the lightning, when you were at the Rubik's Cube, when the lightning was bouncing in between all those podiums, I just thought it looked great. I really did.
Yeah. No, I had zero problems with it. Like I said, this was a very small episode. There wasn't a lot of visual effects, so I think they were able to put all of their budget into making it look really nice.
Yeah. And this is definitely going to be one of those episodes that if somebody hasn't seen Stargate, but you just want to show them an episode, this is a perfect episode to show them. Because you're not getting a whole lot of spoilers for main story stuff. I mean, I don't think the word Goa'uld is ever mentioned in this. And it kind of shows all the members of the team kind of what they do, you know?
Yeah.
So, really good episode though. Okay, moving on. Last, but certainly not least, Watergate.
Right. So that's when Deep Throat gave information on Richard Nixon. No, wait, sorry. So this is the one where.
Sorry. I tried to go straight man on that one. Sorry. Okay, go.
So this was the episode where we find out that the Russians have been fucking around with the Stargate, and we can't dial out, and we can't help anybody, and so we've got to fly to Russia and figure out how to shut off a Stargate that should have shut off like a week ago because they have a 38-minute limit that only applies when we want it to apply and never again.
Never again.
And so they go and meet with Counselor Troy and take a sub trip and are able to shut it off and then almost die because Mayborn's there for some fucking reason.
Yeah. I know you like Mayborn, but when is that guy just going to die?
Oh, he died this episode. And then he came back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway. So first and foremost, what I want to say is that I felt like this was a prime example of TV show special effects. And I don't say that in a bad way, right? When that sub goes through the Stargate, a bigger budget would have been able to give us a lot more experience underwater. Cause what we saw in that brief little like 8 seconds there of that sub gliding along was fantastic. Like absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was. It was, like the only problem was the weird front bubble with the way it warped the visuals.
Yeah.
And it was definitely like that 1990s underwater, like blue gel filter.
Abyss.
But yeah, exactly. But it wasn't bad. Like I loved when they were winching the sub into the Stargate, and I'm like, oh, how's this going to work? How's the winch going to get through? And as soon as the front of the sub goes in, all of a sudden the front of the winch disengages, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'm in. I got this.
Yeah, no, it was so fucking good, dude. Like I felt like this was probably some of the this was one of those episodes in the writers' room where everybody was like, fuck yes, yes, do that, you know, like everybody was on board and behind this episode. Not to say anything about other episodes. It just felt like everything kind of came together here. It wasn't a whole lot of comedy, but the comedy we had was like dead on. The effects were great, and we introduced a whole new slew of shit. Like a whole new slew of shit.
Yeah, we did, and it was good, but it felt like a really long episode, and I did enjoy it, but I don't have a ton of notes. Not because it was spectacular, but just because it was adequate, I guess. I mean, I was really excited. I love the Russians. I love the Russian Stargate program. I love the fact that more people are getting to know about this, and so it's becoming a tougher secret to keep. You know, I love Counselor Troy, you know, childhood crush and all that, but I figured someone there would know what's going on. You show up and everybody's dead, and you find it weird that the water you had is missing, and the water's weird. It's the water. You don't have to know that the water's alive, but it's the water that killed them. You know this.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. And going back to what you just said, this program is getting too big now, right? Like, and especially with the Russians having been used theirs for, we don't know exactly how long, but long enough that, you know, they've gone off world to quite a few times. I like that. I like that it's starting to open up, everything past our own little neighborhood Stargate type of idea. But man, I don't know. I thought everything worked. I really did. The water thing, I guess I didn't pick up on as quickly as you did. Partially because I was just so encaptured with everything else. Like even the small shit where she talks about how they have a DHD, or Daniel goes, "Oh my God, you have a DHD." And it was one of those things that how they talked about how their DHD takes priority, you know?
Right. I mean, we've seen this before. This is not unknown to us. That's fantastic. Like, we had 2 gates. There should have been 2 DHDs. We've only seen one of them, and we never heard anything from the one that should have been with the main gate.
Yeah.
Boom. This is perfect.
Yeah. Which begs the question, does the SGC ever get a DHD?
No.
Or do they just continue to use their computer software?
They continue to use the computer software. I thought you were going to ask how the DHD connects to the gate.
Oh, I mean, Kevin, how does the DHD connect to the gate?
Ancient Bluetooth.
Awesome. It's the stupid jokes. Those are the best. It's not like us talking about the offenders, you know?
Yeah.
But no, Counselor Troy, always a welcome guest in anything, really. And her Russian accent was pretty fucking good. I gotta tell you.
Wasn't the worst.
No. I did expect, I wanted a little bit more back and forth about the, jumping out of the plane, especially when it came to Tilk. because, pardon me, I'm gonna have to mute that out. Yeah, more back and forth out of the plane with Teal'c. You want to talk about fish out of water. Like that whole concept, you knew he had never been exposed to the idea of jumping out of a fucking plane, you know?
No, it's a perfectly good plane. Why would you
why would the fuck would you jump from that, you know? But
I mean, I love him.
I do too. Like there's so many great moments. And what did Daniel say to Counselor Troy? I'm going to keep calling her Counselor Troy, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Oh God, what was that joke? And it ends with him saying, Jesus, I've been hanging around with Jack for too long. Like she's trying to fix something.
I forget what it was.
And it was something about the Swiss. I can't remember, but yeah, the humor was spot on. I should have written that down. Sorry. The humor was great. The special effects were fucking fantastic. And we got a little bit more information, but again, it was one of those episodes where, and I guess Maybourne is left to his own devices now again.
Well, I mean, he's a criminal. He's on the run. You know, he was running that rogue SG team that Jack took down when he pretended to be bad. Yeah. And so this is sort of the answer to our question at the end of that episode is what about Maybourne? And the answer is he went to Russia and sold them all of our Stargate material because he's an asshole. And then he got infected by the water and threw himself in the freezer because the water knew that was the way it would survive. But here's the thing. So Jack and Teal'c find Maybourne frozen in this Siberian warehouse. Okay. Yeah. And their first impulse,
a Bourne-sicle, if you will.
Of course.
Sorry.
Their first impulse is to take him out of that freezer and put him under the fry heat lamps. What the fuck? That's just going to stink. You leave him the fuck in there until you can get someone out to take the body away.
But again, it's Jack and Teal'c. Of course that's where they're going to fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what made it funny. That's what made it perfect. If Carter was there, yeah, we would have gotten a different response out of that. But Jack was like, how do we deal with a frozen person? You heat them up. Let's turn on the heat lamps. You know?
My God. We don't live in a you know what? They do live in a cartoon.
They kind of do, buddy. They kind of do.
If you pay attention when they're on the sub, just before Daniel gets sucked out the window and dies, because I'm sorry, they all died. There's no way they were in that water for more than a couple of minutes without dying.
I have a theory about that.
And I'm sure the water kept them alive and was pumping oxygen through
That's
whatever.
It almost seemed like they were encased in a bubble of water.
Yeah.
That stood
there was definitely something about it, and the water was alive. So the water definitely did something to slow their respiration and keep them alive, to keep them hostage until the other one came back. But the coolest thing about it was that if you look at Troy's headset, the cord had been cut.
Oh, and Lord. Are you serious?
So she was not talking to anybody. She was not listening to anything. And I'm sure it was because on set they were acting too flamboyantly and had to cut it because it kept getting wrapped around something or it kept getting in the way. But there's a big dangly thing hanging off the side of her headset that's not connected to anything.
That is fucking fantastic. I'm so upset I missed that.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, with this podcast, I'm always looking for fiddly bits like that. You know, like when they say a word, I'm like, that I don't recognize immediately, or they say a place, I start Googling it. And so I come up with shit like, Kubaishur, the Russian air base that they went to.
Yeah.
That was renamed Samara in 81.
So they should have had that.
So 20 years prior to this.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, and that the last thing I had that was just nitpicky science bullshit is they talk about the water evaporating or whatever it was, it was the poison. They were talking about the poison that they let loose in the warehouse that killed all of the people.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, are we in trouble?" And someone said the phrase, "No, it evaporated." And evaporation is going from liquid to gas, not gas spreading out.
Yeah.
That's dispersion.
That is dispersion.
Sorry, folks. Sorry,
science majors. Just blew your mind.
But that's all I got. That was the last of it.
That was all I had too. So just 3 great episodes, man. It's been a while since I've enjoyed all 3 episodes on one of our podcasts. You know, typically I'm like 2 out of 3. So that was fantastic.
That was a good week.
Yeah, it was. So next week though, first one's Scorched Earth and Beneath the Surface. We're getting 2 Peter DeLuise episodes next week. In fact, one was written by Peter DeLuise.
That'll be exciting.
And that is the first ones. So, which I have a vague recollection about the first ones, but I don't want to say anything because I could be horribly mistaken. I think so. I don't know. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the comments that we have been getting. We always appreciate it. Thanks again to Mike for pointing out that little bit of fan fiction there that we can kind of read up on and discover more of this fantastic fucking universe. Yeah. Information's always in the show notes, Kevin. Oh, shit. I was gonna plug you, Kevin.
Yes?
Okay, that sounded way more sexual than I thought it was gonna be, I'll be honest with you.
I would like a drink first. Actually,
I was about to say,
drinking, so I'm fine.
In my head, that didn't sound that bad, but then I said it out loud and I'm like, holy shit. So I just noticed on Nerdy Things podcast that, you and Tim may be going, pardon me. Gotta edit that out. You and Tim are going to be going Facebook Live tomorrow?
We may be, yeah. At least definitely Tim is going to be for the Nintendo panel at E3.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to put a link to, your guys' Facebook page in our show notes. So, if we do have any gamers, right now is like the gaming mecca. E3 is currently going on. We had, Microsoft's big, stuff yesterday or 2 days ago. We had Ubisoft and somebody else was today. I can't remember who. And then tomorrow is Nintendo. So,
I think it was Bethesda.
It was Bethesda. Thank you. Yeah. Basically just saying that Skyrim's going to be out again on PlayStation fucking whatever, 7. Cause that's pretty much the only game they fucking plug anymore.
And we're getting Wolfenstein 2, and we're getting an expansion for Quake that has BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein in it. And
that's actually pretty dope.
A whole mess of other stuff.
Yeah, that's actually pretty dope. So if we do have any video game fans, I'll post a link over to their Facebook page and go and check Tim and maybe Kevin if Kevin can make it out.
Yeah,
and
you can always check it out on nerdythingspod.com. We got a bunch of stuff there. We always post nerdy news for everything.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Chevron Locked. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Chevron Podcast, emailing us at thechevronlocked@gmail.com, or join us on our subreddit at Chevron Locked.